Okay, so now what actually is a materials handling? Material handling is actually a very important part in almost all the industries. It is it is required in almost all the industries, whether it's a production industry, whether it's a process industry, or whether it's a service industry. In almost all the industries you will require some or the other types of material handling. In some of the industries like process industry and mechanical industry, the material handling itself is a major part of a production. For example, if you consider mechanical industry, where a number of components are manufactured on different types of machines, raw material comes in a raw material first arrives in the production industry in the form of large metallic slabs. This material is first unloaded from the trucks and then taken to the storage point. From the storage, this material is taken to the main machine where it is cut into the smaller parts. These smaller parts of the metal are then taken to the different machines. Then they have to be moved from one machine to the other machine in large numbers. And then eventually these components will be either assembled together or they will be sent to another assembly point. Say for example, in case of the auto industry, some components are manufactured at the ancillary units and then they are supplied to the main assembly unit. So this will involve, the production industry will involve moving the metallic parts, moving the large metallic blocks from the trucks to the storage point, and then from storage point to each of the machines. Similarly, if you consider process industries, so like if you consider a thermal power plant, in the thermal power plant, huge quantities of the coal are received by the railway wagons. The coal is unloaded from the railway wagons and then stored at certain point. From the storage point, the coal is taken by another material handling equipment to the point where the coal is burnt, where the heat is generated. Similarly, in the chemical industries, huge quantities of raw materials are collected at the storage point, and then these raw materials are passed on to the various processes. So, as such, the material handling is a very important process in a number of industry. It plays a major role as far as the production is concerned. So, in short, the material handling is defined as the loading, moving, and unloading of the material using the equipment specially designed for the purpose. So, there are various types of material handling equipment that are being used. We shall see some of these equipment in the coming slides. So, a material handling it is a very important function in a number of industries, but it also is a very risky operation because because one of the major causes of the accidents in the different industries is due to the material handling. So here we have got some of the image of material handling. Okay. Now what actually are the requirements of a good material handling equipment? A material handling equipment should be able to pass the materials from the starting point to the destination point at the desired rate. So say for example, if you're moving the materials from one machine to the other machine in the production shop, then there should be timely movement of the materials by the material handling equipment. It should not so happen that the next machine is remaining idle and the material has not been supplied to it. So if for example you have these two machines in the production shop, there should be timely delivery of the parts, components to the machine that is waiting. There should not be any time lag. In the production industry, time is very important. Time is more valuable than money. So the wastage of time is the wastage of money. So there should be timely movement of the material. The material handling equipment should not waste any time. In case of the process industry also, say for example, the coal being carried to the boiler. Whenever there is an increase in the demand of the steam, the material handling equipment like the conveyor should be able to supply the coal at the higher rate. If the coal is not supplied at the higher rate, the demand of higher steam will not be met. So there will be reduction in the production of electric power when actually there is more demand. And the material, these equipment should be able to supply the materials not only in the timely manner but also in the desired quantities. So the material handling equipment should be capable enough to carry on to move the large quantities of the load or the materials when required, and when not required it should be it should be able to carry the average amount of loads. So it should be flexible enough to supply the materials as per the requirement and in a timely manner. There should not be any wastage of the time when the materials are being carried from one place to the other place. Some of the material handling equipment are used for storing the materials at certain points. While doing so, the space where the materials are being stored, that space should be utilized in a maximum possible manner. Say for example, you have a large assembly shops, so there is this forklift carrying the large assembled components into the storage site. So it should be able to go into all the corners of the storage point and then store the assembled parts in the various compartments. So the maximum utilization of the space will be made. For example, storing the components on the racks or storing the components in a open space.